little bit behind, but I think maybe we'll be able to get everything in. It's gonna be tight. Um, so present like a pro. I'm gonna have you guys read along. Y'all know how I do things. I'm very big on making sure that you're learning it. So what learning is going to look like is I'm going to give you something visual. That's why I create the slides. We're going to actually say it with our own mouth. So I'm going to have you guys read stuff out loud and as part of the process. And then hopefully we're taking notes and doing those things as well. And then we will be having some homework associated with this in the future. Okay. Let's get up here. So sales presentation process, hope is not a strategy. Just email stuff. We talked about that before. Read that for me there, Madison.
You won't rise to the level of your goals. You will fail to the level of your processes.
Yeah, you will fall to the level of your processes. So guys, it's not a sometimes thing, it's an always thing. It's not an every now and then thing. It's every time. This is our process. We get used to it. This is what we do. And if anything, it's going to feel weird when you don't do it this way. So we want to make sure that we're doing that as a current thing. So think about your current process right now. So Mitch, you've got this thing going on this evening. What is your plan when you show up? What's the entire, just kind of overview of how you're planning on going about what you're going to do today?
Kind of go over the stuff that I found in the inspection, what the roof looks like. I mean, she already pretty much knows. Talk about, I'd like to find out if she's gotten quotes already. I haven't quite gotten to that point. Where they're at in that process, if she'd be comfortable sharing them with me, because I know the roof's going to be expensive. I'm pretty sure she knows it's going to be expensive. It's a TPO roof, so there's not a lot of showing her material like a shingle and things like that. I've got a piece of TPO. I've got some of that polyiso. I've got, one of the corners that I can show her how that detailed corner might look. But there's not a lot of sizzle there. I've got a presentation.
A lot of sizzle.
Well, let me break in on that real quick. Let me cut in on that real quick. Danny, Mark, Jason, do we have anything like a book that has our process with some photos and of us, what we do in the step-by-step process that we use? And maybe you can cut a piece of TPO and put in there as well. Like the materials are a little different, but just something they can use as kind of eye candy as they work through our process. Okay.
Getting a lot more flat roofs, so we do need to come up with something, another roof in the bag for different materials.
That's a project for you and me.
Okay.
Yep.
And that can be like in your L10, that can be a rock. That can be like a 90-day, 3-month rock that we work on. That seems like a good off-season task that we can undergo. And just make sure we tag a deadline on that so that we know, and then check with it on a weekly to see that we're making progress in that. And everybody has a process. I just want you to kind of currently think of where you're at, and then we're going to kind of move up. So here's the presentation stages. There's 7 stages that are affiliated with a true professional presentation. And guys, this does not matter what you sell. I know we're talking about roofing systems today, and the reality is this same process should be played out in whatever you sell. Okay. When you go to gutters, when you go to windows, if Mark decides to close up shop and we can sell cars better than we can sell roofs, then so be it. We'll use the same process for that. I don't care if it's real estate, mortgage companies, anybody else that I coach, fencing companies, extermination companies, all these people are using the same process. So first there's a setup. Set yourself up for success, relate, connect with them using the form technique, discover, collect valuable information. Then you add your first transition. There's 2 transitions. This is the expectations transition. So set short and long-term expectations. Then you move into the actual presentation. When we think presentation, that's all you're thinking about. Okay. But there's a lot to it. When you call a football play, it's not just called a play. You got to call the personnel packages. How many of every position do we need? We got to call out our location, where we line up, what motions we have. Then there's a play. Then there's a tag, right? So there's like 6 things. It's not just call a play. That's elementary stuff. Okay, so this is the same thing here. We're not just doing a presentation. It's not that simple. The winning is in the details. So then once we actually present, okay, we have goals of what we're trying to do there, and it's not just showing features. We're not selling features. We're selling solutions. And a lot of times they don't even understand what solution you're fixing because they don't have a good understanding of that. So it's our job to educate. Remember, relate, educate, ask, and listen. Everything is built in. That is baked into this process. Okay. And then the next thing is your transition coming out of the presentation. That's what I call a pre-close. Okay. That's where we're going to sell the vacation, not the plane flight. We're going to connect the dots for them so they understand, what everything means and why this is a better offer maybe than what they've looked at before and why we're the choice. We're the only choice to move forward with this decision. And then finally, it's the close. Okay, calm, controlling, and confident. Closing is a whole different thing. We'll go over that when I feel like the time is right. But we're going to touch on some of that stuff coming up here, especially during the off season, man. We're going to drill this stuff down. Okay, but that's the overview of the presentation stages. Okay, now we're going to move through these a little faster because time restraints or whatever. But stage 1 is the setup. So set yourself up for success. Okay, more than 10 to 20% or 10 to 20% is the national average for emailed estimates. You're at 40 to 60% on in-home presentations. Okay. So can you win with emails? Yeah, you can win. People are winning. There is a certain percentage of the population that almost won't even deal with you except for through email. So I understand that exists, but we're gonna prepare for the best case scenario on our behalf is for us to get them to that closing table. Guys, if you're not getting them to the table, then you're just throwing stuff at a wall and hoping something sticks. Okay. And so for that reason, we need to understand these numbers. And if you know that simply getting that appointment more than doubles, and I don't care if you make a bad presentation, just presentations. It doesn't say the best possible presentations on earth get you 40 to 60%. It just says if you get to that table, then you're going to double or triple your opportunity. So we've got to put more effort in there and stop letting the devil on your shoulder tell you these half truths that aren't really there. Like, oh, well, they won't let me come out. They just want me to email it. You're allowing that to happen because you're not in control of your process. And the main problem is that we don't have a process. Okay. So we're going to talk about the day. Make the appointment important to them. It's got to make sense to them. Okay. The way this will look to me is we do this from jump, from the beginning. So it looks like Miss Jones that we can tie this to insurance work, we can tie it to retail, we can tie it to repairs, we can tie it to gutters, we can tie it to anything. Okay. Once you know that there's going to be an opportunity for a sale, the scope was approved. Guys, you're not out here selling scopes. That's not what we're in the industry. We're not in the industry of scope selling. Okay. Every scope that you get, there's an upgrade opportunity. Do we run better percentages? And this is for leadership, but are we running better percentages on profitability? And are we giving out higher amounts on our paychecks and our what do you call it?
Commissions.
Commissions. I don't know why I had a brain fart there. On jobs that we upsell.
Of course.
Of course, exactly. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Okay, but we think we're selling scopes. So we just think, okay, we got the scope, we're going to sell that. No, man, you're leaving so much meat on the bone. I would rather, if I'm doing the same amount of work, guys, I'd rather make more money. Wouldn't you guys? I mean, that's typically what we want to do. Okay. I know Mark running a roofing company, he'd rather, us run another 15, 18% higher on profitability on jobs. Okay. So make the appointment important to them. So here's the thing, the way this looks is from the beginning. So Miss Maria, looks like you got approved, man. That is awesome. I got that email as well. I'm going to go ahead and take this and transfer this scope, what they're agreeing to pay for. I'm going to go ahead and move this over into an actual, an estimate. And we're going to have a couple different versions of that because every roofing system doesn't go back on the same way that it came off. So what we're going to do is put together some different options for you, come over there and set up an appointment to present that to you and let you go ahead and make this decision on your home. When is a good time for you? Early next week? Okay, so I'm asking these questions from the beginning. I'm setting the stage so they understand and say, so give me some pushback, Maria. Say that you don't want to do that.
What does that mean the roofing system doesn't go back on the same?
Well, because your roof was built 17 years ago. Okay, there's different codes, there's different things that's gone on since then. Building codes change all the time. And so materials change. There's upgrade opportunities. And what we love about insurance jobs, because they're paying the majority of the roof, the cost of this roofing system is a phenomenal opportunity for a homeowner like yourself to go ahead and upgrade out of that Honda into that Lexus, right? So there's great opportunities there. So we just want to go ahead and make sure we have all the information on the table so you can make this 20, 30-year decision and feel solid on making that decision that you had all the information. Does that make sense? So what I'm gonna do is, like most people say, well, just email it to me. Man, that makes sense in a lot of situations, to be honest with you, Jason. But what we found and what we do at CPR is we take a lot of pride in our communication and our education of our clients. And to be honest with you, Jason, whether you use us or anybody else, there's going to be questions about a roofing system because you're not in the roofing industry. You don't do this on a day-to-day. And so what we've tried to do is bring that information to you so that you can make a really solid decision. Unfortunately, in this industry now, it's a big thing where guys just want to send over, $12, $15, $20,000 decisions and just email that over as if that's not a big deal. We know it's a big deal at CPR. So what we're going to do is make sure that we come out and meet with all of our clients and even our potential clients that may even go somewhere else. But we're going to come out here and give you, explain the difference of the apples and oranges so that you can make the best decision for your property. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So you got to take control, guys. You got to take control. Stop letting them drive the ship, dude. You're a professional. Take control. This is too big of a decision to fly through. Use the analogy of a car. I just did. If you bought a car, to be honest with you, Danny, if you bought a car, you bought several cars in your life, man. If you're like me, I probably bought 30 vehicles in my life, not including motorcycles and RVs and boats. But with that being said, I know the difference of leather seats and cloth seats. I know the difference of rear temperature control. I know the difference of it's got Bose system versus a factory system. So we all have a good understanding of that because we bought a lot of cars. You've not bought many roofs, as we talked about before. This would be your first roof replacement, okay? But when you went to buy a home, the first time you bought a home, you really did your homework. You checked on a lot of different things. And that's what we want to do is bring that out to make sure that you're making the best decision. So using analogies ties it back in, makes it make sense to them. There's an advantage. I try to leverage myself, and you kind of play your cards differently depending if you're the first to present, the middle, or the last. Okay, there's 3 different scenarios how you play that out. Guys, there's a lot of benefit of being the first to the room, but I'm going to be honest with you. I like being last. I like being last. And it's easy to frame myself as being the last option. And the reason it is because I know my competition and the corners that they're trying to cut and how lazy they are. And I'm going to take advantage of their laziness. It's going to make them look horrible. And they don't even know they're doing it. But what I'm going to explain to them is this. More than likely, the other estimates that you're looking to get, Mark, are going to be got companies that are just going to try to throw together an estimate and email it to you and just hope that something sticks and they get the bid, get you to buy from them. What we want to do is come back out here and answer any questions that they may leave unanswered for you. So if you could please go ahead between now and next week, whenever we meet up again, let's go ahead and get all your estimates in-house. And then gather any questions that you may have, and make sure that you're presenting those. As I present this estimate, I'm going to answer whatever other questions you may have about the other estimates, okay? Now, here's the benefit of that. A couple benefits is obvious, but the big thing to me is I want them to know what the pricing points are. I want to know, because here's the thing. I don't want to be selling a $15,000 roof and them sit there with a $10,000 roof, in the bag. And then I'm trying to sell because I don't know what that dollar amount is. At some point in our conversation, I'm going to find out what my competition is charging, and I'm going to find out. I should, if I'm doing this thing the right way, I'm going to find out kind of what they're getting, what products they're getting, what upgrades, what warranty, and those type things. And we'll scrimmage those things out whenever we actually scrimmage this stuff. But the reality is, there's a benefit to being last because now all the cards are on the table. They're not guessing when you give them a $15,000 offer. They're not guessing they can get an 8, right? Like in their mind, they might be thinking they can get $8,000 offer. So they're not going to make a decision because they think there's something better out there. I want them to know what all the numbers are so that I can sell. I'm not selling a roof, guys. At this point, they've decided to buy a roof. That's not the question. The question is the value gap between the two roofs that they're considering. And hopefully mine is one of them. So at this point, I'm not selling a $15,000 roof. If the next one they're considering is $12,000, I'm selling a $3,000 value to my roof. That's a big difference. But I can't do that if they've not already gathered their information. And so I want to go ahead and leverage myself as being the last one. And it also is a sign of confidence. It's a sign of confidence. And they're going to appreciate that. Guys, people buy confidence. You've heard that said before. Anybody that studied any kind of sales of any level, people, you're going to hear that all the time. People buy people. People buy your confidence. And so this is a flex in some ways, but there's a reason for it as well. Okay. And advantage of the last offer, I just explained that, and then frame yourself as the expert. Okay. I can't do that. I can't frame myself as an expert if I'm not at your kitchen table talking to you about roofing systems. I can't. An email isn't going to do it. Okay. Any questions or takeaways from that part? Give me some takeaways. What are your thoughts there, Mark?
I always just tell people, set yourself up, as the expert. And the only way you're going to be able to set yourself up as the expert, in the room is to be in the room with the person. I know you guys have seen me get frustrated with people sending email quotes. Unless that house is here in Littleton and that person is in Connecticut, there's no reason to email a quote. We've really got to be able to close that gap where people see the value in us sitting down and talking with them face to face, seeing the products, feeling the products, understanding what they're getting. And they won't understand that if they think all they're getting is some asphalt slapped on their roof and they're looking for the lowest bid possible.
Exactly right. How important do they feel as a client if all you're willing to do is just send them an email?
Not at all, but Ken, I think a lot of times too, you get the objection of, I don't have time to meet with you. I don't want to, I know that a lot of people are coming up on that objection, and that's what we've got to overcome, is those people who are unwilling to meet. I think everybody here in this room prefers to meet over sending an email.
Okay, so how often are we scrimmaging through that objection? Probably not very much. So let's throw that out a little bit. I can't stay on this very long, but we can definitely retouch it in huddles or wherever else we get an opportunity. Mark, listen, it makes sense, man. That is the way that life is kind of going these days. Everything is like email and fast. How many homes would you say you looked at before you bought this home?
I think we looked at like 6 houses. Yeah.
Okay, pretty time consuming, but it was a big decision. Wouldn't you agree?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, this roofing system is going to protect that investment for the next 20 to 30 years. So just to put that in perspective, 45 minutes with me, for a 30-year decision is a pretty good investment of time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah. You put it that way. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So that's one way we can scrimmage that, guys. But listen, It sounds great when I say it. It don't make a damn what I say. You guys have to get where that just flies off. It's just got to make so much sense to you that they almost feel stupid for not thinking that way. And where does that come from? It comes from confidence. So again, the only way you get confident is you scrimmage things and you say them enough times that it becomes ingrained. Not until you get it right, guys, until you can't get it wrong. Okay. So stage 2, let's keep moving. The next thing is relate. Now this relate is something we talk about all the time. It's a core principle that we coach on, but one of the core principles, go ahead and read that for me, Maria.
One of the core principles is to be real. Systems is to relate to the client. Relation sales are much more effective way to sell than transactional sales. In this stage of your presentation, you will intentionally build connection.
Read that next. Who's next? Mitch?
Yeah, goal for this stage is to connect in at least 1 to 4 connection opportunities. Using the form technique systemizes this stage and gives the process a repeatable goal.
Who's next? Jason?
Stage 2 is relate, family, occupation, recreation, motivation.
So either one of those 4 things, guys. That's just a very basic, like very well-known process of how, to connect. I know, Mitch, you sound, in our one-on-ones, you said, man, I'm not really good at that part. You're a pretty black and white guy. You almost feel fake when you start having those conversations. And I encouraged you and I encourage everybody there, man, try to make connection on some level. I'm not saying that you have to sit there and hypothesize life and everything else, in a 30, 45-minute conversation. But I'm just saying, like, make some type of a connection in some area so that they get a little bit more comfortable. Guys, that's what builds the trust. Okay. And trust is a foundation. I don't care whoever coaches you in sales, what videos you watch, what books you read, trust will always be the foundation. And what builds trust faster than anything else is common ground. It's common ground. When you walk into a football stadium and everybody in the stadium's wearing Denver Broncos stuff or Raider stuff or whoever else y'all like out there, non-winners, like I'm the only one pulling for a good team around here, but I'm just joking.
9-2,
Like,
9-2.
Number 1.
I get it. But what I'm saying is, like, when you walk into that stadium, man, you feel connected. Like when you walk in the grocery store, somebody's got a Broncos. I see it here, man. I'm big Steelers fan, man. Steeler Nation, dude. I can come to Denver and I'll see 4 or 5 people with Steeler shirts on everywhere I go around the country. It's like, go Steelers, and just all of a sudden you'll hear somebody go Steelers, and you didn't even see them, and you turn around, they got a Steelers hat on. It's like that. That is a trust thing. Like, you mean, like, it just starts to build trust when you have something in common. So find what that common ground is. Okay. And we're not going to beat that up too much. Just know that that is a stage in there. And that's how we want to open up when we get there. Okay. When we get to their home, here's the advantage you have when you come into their home. You see their family photos. You see the things that are important to them, right? You see all the different, the artwork on the wall or the baby pictures up on the mantle, whatever that is. There is a ton of opportunities when you walk in there. They have to feel valued. They have to feel like you have some kind of interest in them, so they can start to build this thing where they like you. They're not going to like you just because, whatever, your height and weight and ethnicity. Like, that's not, oh yeah, we got to build something. Like, we got to build some kind of rapport with these people. Okay. Stage 3 is the discovery phase. This is where the first stage where most people are making the biggest mistakes. Honestly, this is where we go in there. We think we have all the answers, and we have our almighty estimate, and we've got our almighty product that we're going to sell, and we think that we've got it all figured out. Guys, what you think is important might not be important to them. There's going to be information as you speak and talk, and questions that you ask going in that is going to set you up to better present. Because when you find out, hey, one of the questions in this discovery phase is, guess what? So have you ever? So I can't remember if you said, but have you had a roof replaced before? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Whatever that is, you go down different routes from there. Let's say they have not. Okay, well, I know this can seem very overwhelming. Let me tell you some of the things that we do here at CPR that's different from other companies is we do what we call build day videos. So everything we're going to go over here today, I'm actually going to send you a video. I don't care if you're in your home or at work or on vacation in Maui. I'm going to send you a video, 2 or 3 videos each day, showing you the various stages of your roof build so that you can see the materials that we say we're putting them on, and everything is up to code. That's something that stands out with our company. So now what I just did, I built another value gap between me and the next guy. Okay. How many companies do y'all think are sending build day videos?
None.
Out of 100, maybe 2, maybe at best. Yeah, they upload photos into the company cam. Okay, big whoop. Everybody does that. But your phone's going to ding and you're going to look and you see Jason Penner's smiling face standing in front of your house. And you're going to hit play, and without going to log into nothing or open up anything else, you're going to just sit there and watch him tell you what's going on with your roof. People love that. Okay. So based on that, we're going to ask some questions. If they said that, yes, I've had it. So what went well in that process? What are some things that you felt could have went better? Guys, that's the golden question. I want them to have had this experience before. Guess what? They had that experience with somebody else, and yet I'm standing in their living room right now about to sell them a roof. So how good did they do?
Right.
They didn't do too damn good. Because newsflash, fellas, if you went on a date with her last weekend and she's got another guy she's going to date with this weekend, you didn't do something right, brother. You dropped the ball somewhere. Okay. So my point is this: you have the opportunity when you get there to uncover the things. When you say what are some things that could have went better? Okay. If they identify something as being good, then you know that's something that during your presentation, right? And then as you go into your pre-close phase, those are things you have to highlight that's what we do good too. Okay. And if they tell you what didn't go so well, what do you think could have went better? If they say it was communication or they didn't get enough nails up or whatever that is, whatever that next thing out of their mouth is, they just gave you the key on how to close them. But if you don't ask, you don't ever know. So you're just guessing. Okay. Hope is not a strategy. Remember I said that. Okay. So let's read through this. Who's up next?
Discovery is one of the most critical steps in the sales process. The purpose is to uncover the prospect's true needs, challenges, goals, and motivations so that you can position your solution in a way that directly aligns with them. Without a solid discovery, even the best pitch feels generic and transactional.
Does that make sense, guys?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Number one, read number one for me. Who's around? Who's coming around? Who's next?
I'll go. Build trust and rapport, show genuine interest in the prospect situation, which sets a tone for a collaborative relationship.
Number two, read it for me. Who's next?
Uncover pain points, identify the real problems or frustrations that need solving, not just surface level wants.
Okay. Well, I'll skip 3 and 4. I'll find it somewhere. Go ahead. Who's next?
Guide the sales process. Information gathered here shapes your proposal, presentation, and follow-up strategy.
Number 6, increase close rate. The more you know, the more relevant, persuasive your solution becomes.
Okay, your discovery targets. Ask open-ended discovery questions: who, what, where, why, and how, to go beyond yes or no answers. Okay. Number 2, use 80-20 rule. Prospects should talk 80% of the time. Ask questions, tee them up, let them go. Okay. Number 3, identify the prospect's pain points and what those challenges cost them: time, money, reputation. Okay. So going back to what you said before, about they don't want to spend the time, they don't have time for this and they don't have time for that. Like, I always follow that up with time is money. Time is money. How much money would you say? What do you think? And this is a great time to ask this question, guys, and you should write this down because I'm giving you freaking gold right now. This is a guaranteed way to make money.
I'm writing it down.
Okay. So here's the thing, like whenever they are giving you this stuff about they don't have time to do this stuff like that. So let me ask you this, Mark. I mean, that makes sense. I get it, man. Time is valuable. Let me ask you this. What do you think is the number one reason for roofing issues? Here's the thing. They're not going to know the answer to that.
I don't know.
What's that?
I don't know.
Which exactly, they're not going to know. And then you're going to say, believe it or not, it's installation error. And then shut up. Don't say another word. Let their mind work on that, chew on that for a minute. Would a company that is going out there and putting on crappy roofs that are causing callbacks and warranty issues, are they going to highlight that point? I can answer you that. No. Okay. I'm also starting to plant those fear seeds. Remember, I told you words matter and all words are a seed. In that situation, that is a fear seed. It is a seed of doubt with other companies. They're going to look around and say, okay, if you guys ain't putting roofs on, this is a lot more complex than what I thought. So who's out here going to screw it up? More than likely the guy that decided to email you a damn estimate like a lazy ass, and not the guy that's standing right here and explaining all this to you. So I'm building value simultaneously. Okay. So clarify their goals, priorities, and vision of success. So again, let's go back and finish that thought. So once I say that it's installation error, then my follow-up that after I sit and let him chew on that or her chew on that for a second, is I come back behind. So wouldn't you think that it's going to be probably in your best interest to make sure that you're asking as many questions as possible and get in front of anybody that's going to do the work on your roofing system? And they're going to agree to that. Why? Because you just gave them a fact. You educated them, right? We're closing the sales triangle. Does anybody remember the sales triangle, the 3 components?
Yep.
Trust, value, urgency. We are systematically doing that, guys. Those aren't just 3 words I threw up there to damn like just make it sound good because somebody's got to talk about stuff in sales. Like there's a formula. It's all a formula. It's all a process. Okay. So clarify their goals, priorities, and vision of success. So what I'm hearing right here, Madison, is you guys probably the cleanup didn't go as good last time, and so that's pretty important to you. That's a good deal. And guys, as you're discovering, man, be writing it down. Be writing it down. Because here's the thing, people feel heard when you make notes as they're talking. Does that make sense? If you're standing up and speaking to a group of people and everybody's just sitting there with their arms crossed looking at you, you're like, they don't care anything I'm saying. But if they're scrambling around, man, this is good stuff. And they're taking pictures of the screen, they're doing this, and like they're actually hungry for information. Okay. So you have to make them feel that what they're saying is important to you. And jot down some notes. Okay. Discovery targets determine decision-making process, who's involved, how they decide. So here's my pre-frame, guys. Use it if you want it. It's free. I'm not going to charge you. But so let me ask you this, Maria. If we answer, you say you've already got all the estimates and everything together. If I answer all your questions here today, would you be against going ahead and get this taken care of, get this decision made, and let's move forward, get this thing taken care of? Just to let you know, I already spoke to Danny on the way over here. He is our production guy, and we could actually get this roof up next week, probably as early as Thursday of next week. So would you be against going ahead and getting this thing taken care of? So that's called a pin down. Okay. That's a pin down question. Now, a pin down question before the offer puts you in the driver's seat. Because if they do not object to it now, they inherently won't feel like they can object to it later on. Because in my pre-close, I'm going to wrap up in saying that this right here. I'm saying, now, Maria, I know you said that you had, that if we answered all the questions, we could go ahead and move forward. Did you have any other questions for me today? Anything that I've not answered for you totally? When they say no to that question, they're saying yes to we're going to move forward. See how that works? Yeah. It's the psychology of sales. So using a pin down question in discovery is going to help you later on in close. Guys, here's the thing. I used this analogy before. Sales is like basketball. You have the dribbling. The better you are at dribbling, the closer you can get to the basket. So when you go for the close, which is the shot, I'm either going to be shooting layups or I'm going to be jacking things up from half court. The better you are at the sales process, the 6 previous steps, the easier the basket's going to be to make it at the end. You're going to just be making the layups at the beginning. You're going to get to the rim every time because your dribbling skills, which is your sales skills, is your process. That's going to always get you all the way up there to the basket. Easy layups. Okay. And that's what I want. I want layups. We don't want to jack up threes. All right. Confirm their budget expectations or their financial capacity. There's ways to communicate that as well. So with the estimates you've already gotten, let's talk about, man, where's everything falling in line with what your expectations and what you thought this was going to be, and let them dude, you don't know what they might break out the damn estimates and throw them on the table. What kind of advantage do we have there? But just asking them if they're in the range, just open up that can and let them see how far they'll go. Explore the timeline and urgency for making a decision. Okay. So there's different things we'll work. A lot of those should be question based. Guys, when we coach on the ask module, which is a module that I coach individually, we talk about discovery questions, the reason why we do it. We talk about at the door, the different questions that you ask. We talk about that. And we'll get into that a little bit deeper, but just know that that's coming. Okay. The next thing, number 9, take thorough notes to personalize your proposal and show you that you're listening. So we just talked about that. And then lastly, summarize back what you heard to confirm understanding. So what I'm hearing is boom, boom, boom. Okay. The L for be real is to listen. Active listening is visual. It's responsive. It's interactive. It is key to building rapport and trust. Guys, if you want to build trust, shut up, listen, give head nods, make little sounds like you're paying. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And then making notes and jotting it down. That shows that you're actively listening. Listening is visual, guys. You can look at somebody and tell if they're listening to you. So make them feel that what they're saying is important to you. Okay. And now stage 4. Any question on stage 3, discovery? All right. Now, Mark, we're after 11. How much time we got left?
Anybody got anything?
No.
Okay, keep going as long when you can.
Okay.
Oh, you do?
Got a CPI later,
What
but
time?
I can get to. Well, I had scheduled it too early, but, and I can reschedule it. It's at 10 for Royal Springs.
Oh, okay, that's not far. That's not far.
And then I have a 2:32. So I think I'm gonna have to reschedule that.
Y'all good?
Mhm.
Okay. So the first transition is expectations. So think about it. It makes sense. So the setup, guys, going back to the setup, and I didn't do a good enough job on that. Actually, I just didn't finish that slide. I got another slide I need to throw in there. But part of the setup is having a video. You can be a pre-made video, or you can just send one to them personally, whatever, and just outline what we're going to do at the appointment. So, hey, Miss Jones, looking forward to being over there Tuesday evening. You said before your husband's going to be there. Looking forward to meet him as well. Just to let you know what we're going to do. If we could have a place where we could just sit down and just have, a quiet conversation for 30, maybe 45 minutes, somewhere in that range, and go ahead and get all the information, all the questions that you guys might have. Go ahead and collect those and have them ready for me so that I can answer all the questions while we're there and get this taken care of for you. Okay. So again, I'll be over there. Looks like I'm gonna be over there around 6 o'clock. More than likely, I'll be there a little bit early. If anything changes on your side, please let me know as soon as possible. And if I don't hear anything, I'm looking forward to seeing you Tuesday evening. Okay. That video sets the expectations. When I get there, what I expect, what we're going to do. And then when you get in there, set yourself up. You should be on one side of the table. All decision makers should be on the other side of the table. You can't be in between them where they're making eyes at each other and giving each other hand signals and head nods. There's not clear communication. And they're just going to think, okay, this ain't going good. And they just try to get out of it because they don't know what's control the situation. I put them on one side of the table. I'm standing up. So you sell on your feet, you close in your seat. So I'm standing up for this presentation. Okay. I'm going to have them sit down, offer to get them a drink if you got to. They're in their own house. I don't care. I'll ask them, would you like a drink? Seriously. But I'm going to have them comfortable. And and here's the thing. That is a sign that you're in control, that you're a professional. Don't come in there fumbling around and you just sit wherever. You kind of come in and look at the area and get control of this thing, man. I put both of them side by side. They're going to look at me. I'm doing the presenting. Okay. And this seems like something small, guys, but if you've ever been in a room with a professional, that's how they close. That's how they present. Okay. So now we're going to set the expectations. That was on the front end. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the expectations moving in. The expectation phase sets the stage and bridges the learning part of discovery into the showing part, which is the presentation. Okay. So transition phrase, just read that first sentence right there. Madison, read that for me right there to go over.
Before I jump into the details, let me set some expectations for how we'll go through this.
Who's next? Read it for me.
I want to make sure I'm presenting in
The white.
okay, this part isn't about me talking to you. It's about making sure what I show you connects to what you need.
Or what you expect, however you want to word it. Okay. Read that last one, somebody.
I want to make sure I'm presenting in a way that's most valuable to you. Here's how we'll go about it.
Okay. So however you word that, but like, hey, here's what we're doing right here. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay. I'm going to present to you. I'm going to answer probably a lot of the questions. So if you could, first of all, I like to go in there with a notepad. I'll go in there and I always had a company notepad or I made one myself. And I coach this with car sales guys as well. They go out there and make a notepad and put the information on their business card on the top with their name and their phone number, and they hand it to them when they go out there to see them in the yard. Because every guy that walks up to them is trying to give them a business card and say, if you need anything, call me, I'll be up there. And they stand up there and look at you like a vulture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and say, listen, I know you guys are looking at a lot of vehicles, probably went to some other lots. Let me give you this notepad. So you can make some notes on everything right here. If you do have any questions, man, reach out to me. And I just hand them the pad with a little 35-cent pen. And it's got my information on it, right? So just a little branding thing, something that I know nobody else is doing. So the same thing when you get there, offer them a notepad. If y'all have something laying around the office, that's a great thing. Say, hey, here, let me give you this pad. Just jot down while I'm going through this. We're going to talk back and forth. But if there's any kind of thing you want to recap or go over later on in more depth, please take some notes for me, okay? And now that right there encourages them to take notes. It encourages transparency. It encourages that you want to answer all the questions. What is the complete opposite of being there in their home to answer all their questions? I'll tell you what it is. It's sending somebody a damn email. That's the opposite. The opposite. So again, I'm framing the value of me being there. Okay. So purpose of expectation phase is a smooth transition. Keep the conversation from feeling like a hard pivot. Okay. We don't just go start grabbing material. Okay. So once we finish discovery, so look, here's how things go, Jason. Man, I want you guys I've got some notepads here for you guys. Y'all take some notes. Anything like that. Do you have any questions later on when I get towards the end? Please feel free to ask me. And then the other thing is, let me get through the whole presentation because what we find is we answer most of your questions during the presentation. So if you just kind of hang tight, let me run through this thing. Man, we'll see what gaps we missed, and we'll go ahead and fill that in later on. Sound good? You get them to agree. Now you can get into your flow state. You can't get into a flow state if you don't have control of the room. You can't. It's impossible. And guys, I'm always looking for flow state. Okay? Always looking for flow state. And so you control that. Okay? So alignment check. Ensures you and the prospect are on the same page before presenting the solutions. Okay? Control and framing. You get to see their view. All right, so number 3, I'm trying to move a little faster. Purpose of expectation phase, control, framing. You get to set a lens through which they view your presentation. Expectation management, you reduce surprises and keep their focus on what matters most. Okay, this is all being in control, right? Targets for expectation, clarify what will and won't be covered in the presentation. Now, here's the thing, Jason, you're probably going to be wondering during this presentation, man, how much does it cost? How much does it cost? Yeah, man, we'll get to that. Okay. Here's what I'm not going to tell them, but I'm reminding y'all, you never disclose price until you present value. Okay, so we're not talking prices. If you have an estimate, your estimate, if you're going to let them see it and go along line by line, then that part should not have prices on it. It shouldn't. Because guess what they're going to do? They're going to look all the way, they're going to find the price, and then everything you say at that point is mute. They don't care. They've already made their decision. Okay? You took the only thing that you have leverage on to make sure they stay dialed in. You gave it away. Tipped your hand. Okay? So if I show you how we solve X, Y, and Z, are you open to the next steps? I kind of touched on that with Maria earlier. Establish decision-making criteria and timeline. So we're trying to do that on the front end right here into the transition. So targets for expectation phase, set presentation lens. All right, so gain meeting committee. If what I show you addresses these, are you comfortable talking about what moving forward looks like? Pretty simple little request. Okay. Level set expectations. Outline how long the presentation will take. That will be covered and how questions will be handled. Okay. So I'm in control, guys. At this point, I'm not being pushy. I'm not being bossy. What I'm being is I'm being a professional. People want to see that you are competent in your professionalism. And this gives you the opportunity. Okay. So next, we're actually to the actual presentation. Finally, we're going to actually run the play at this point, right? So the actual presentation, and guys, this in itself can be another coaching that we may do. We may come back and do this more in detail another week. I'll talk to Mark and see what it looks like. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity to actually go through the actual presentation. Somebody read that for me real quick.
A detailed presentation for a roof replacement sale isn't just about walking through the shingles and pricing. It's a strategy to build trust, educate the homeowner, and position your company as the clear choice.
Okay. Frame presentation in a way that highlights both importance and value. Education and transparency. Homeowners don't fully understand what goes onto a roofing system. A step-by-step presentation helps them see a roof isn't just shingles, it's ventilation. One of the questions I like to ask before we get started today here, Mr. Mitch, how many components would you think there are in a roofing system? The average homeowner is going to say 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
I'm just telling you what that. So asking that question as being part of your right when you get into the presentation, before you open the bag and start pulling stuff out, before you hand over an estimate that shows like 22 line items on there, like literally you need ask that question, because now what's going to happen, you're making this interactive as much as you can. Now you have to talk more in this part. This part's where you have to take over, talk, and take control. But think about what you've already done up to this point. It's been a lot about them, a lot about you discovering and finding out this and finding that. And now all of a sudden we're going to start talking, but we still want to make it interactive so they don't zone out on us. Okay. So asking that question right there is going to produce the value gap in the fact that through education, you're taking them for what they thought this roofing system was and how simple of a process it was. And we'll just choose the cheapest one, all the way over here where there are not only 10 to 12 different components of your roofing system, but there's also 10 to 12 different ways to screw it up. And it's the reason why that is the most common found issue with roofing systems is through installation error. So what I'm starting to do is build this urgency of, man, this is bigger than I thought. I thought I was going in for outpatient surgery. Now I find out they're keeping me for 3 days. Like I thought they were going to give me a local anesthetic. Now they got to put me to sleep. Like I'm making them understand that this is major construction. Okay. And so as we go through that, helping them see a roof isn't just, it's ventilation. Are you aware, Miss Maria, that your roof is actually a breathing organism on your roofing as part of your home? It's actually there's breathing components that affect the life expectancy of your roofing system. Not only that, it also affects your power bill on an annual basis. Ask the question, guys. You don't have to even answer the question. Ask the question and see what they say. The less that they know, the more they value you as an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Educating them creates confidence and prevents apples to oranges comparisons with other estimates. Okay. Okay. Next thing, showcasing professionalism. A detailed presentation demonstrates you've invested time to prepare, measure, and customize your solution. It sets your team apart from contractors who just throw out a number without explaining what is included. Differentiating from competitors, many bids include important components, ice and water shield, proper flashing, starter strips. By highlighting these, you create a clear contrast between a complete system and a bare bones install, which is also low bids. Homeowners see the hidden risk of going with the cheap bid. So again, think about some of the terms that I've used before whenever I've coached you guys. This is where it plays out. So here's the thing, honestly, Miss Madison, we would rather explain price once than apologize for quality for a lifetime. So any questions you got today concerning either materials or the processes that we use in doing our installations, please please ask me today so I can get all that stuff cleared out for you, because everybody isn't the same. You can leverage at that point, you guys' diamond affiliation or whatever you call that. I can't remember, I'm sorry. But now is a great time for you to throw that little nugget in there, right? You're trying to create a gap, man, between you and everybody else. Okay. Highlighting code and manufacturing, pointing out how your labor meets both building codes and manufacturer specifications. That gives peace of mind. So you realize, even though we're not building a home, just by tearing off a roofing system and reinstalling, that all the city, county, and state, and even federal building codes apply to that project. And then just sit and listen to what they say. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. The more, oh, I didn't know that you get out of them, the more likely you're signing this deal at the end of this conversation. This also shows that you're protecting their warranty, something most homeowners don't realize can be voided if installation is subpar. So you know what we find out a lot of times, Alan, is for every roofing system that we tear off, I mean, that we build, we actually tear off a roofing system. And dealing with insurance companies from all around the country that cover a lot of the homeowners here in the greater Denver area, what we find is one of the big glitches where they're denying a lot of the claims when there's legitimate storm damage on these roofing systems, is they're coming out saying, well, that wasn't built up to code. So there's never been a more important time to make sure that the contractor that you choose is actually getting everything up to all the codes and all to the manufacturer's expectations. And then shut up for a second. Guys, we talk so fast sometimes because we get going and then we don't let that absorb into their brain long enough. Okay. That's why I like asking questions, because they're forced to think. And then when I give the answer, and it's like a shocking moment, but now they've actually put a little bit of thought into it. It's not like I just spewed out a bunch of garbage at them and they didn't digest or take in any of it. Okay. Positioning is a long-term investment. The roof's not just a purchase, it's protection of their home, family, and the resale value. Leverage your one-time transfer of the warranty. Breaking down components, let's show how each one adds longevity, safety, or energy efficiency, which turns the conversation from price to value. That's what you're trying to get to, guys. It's not about the price. It's about the value. Hell, you can't afford not to buy my roof. That's the story that you're telling. Number 6, building trust and authority. A contractor who educates instead of sells naturally earns trust. The presentation positions you as a consultant and advisor, not just another sales guy. Reducing buyer's remorse. When a homeowner understands exactly what they're paying for, they're less likely to second guess their decision. They're also more willing to make the decision on the spot, and y'all stop having to chase them around to make a decision. That means fewer cancellations, fewer objections, and more referrals down the road. Creating visual impact using photos, diagrams, or samples of materials makes unseen parts of the roof real. This helps the homeowner see and feel the difference in quality and professionalism. Read that for me, Alan.
Detailed presentation protects the homeowner, builds your authority, differentiates you from competitors, and makes the buying decision much easier.
Much easier. Anybody, what's some nuggets y'all are taking away so far? Just go around the room. Everybody get something real quick. Start over here in the corner with Danny. Or is Danny not gone? Who's that? Mark right there? I can't see.
Yeah, take off. This is me. Again, guys, it's education. Educate your homeowner. I'm gonna give everybody some homework. for this, and I guess I'll go ahead and do it right now. Who here has given a presentation in the past week? Raise your hands. Alan?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I want everybody to go in and reflect on your last presentation that you made. I want you to go into this module in the Be Real training slides and reflect on your presentation and what you did and did not do. And make some notes.
Guys, let's keep moving because I know we're getting late. So this is the more in-depth thing that we'll do at another time, but I just want to show you what's there for us. This is a guide designed to help you confidently present the full roofing system to homeowners. The why each layer matters and what happens without it. You don't just sell a roof, you build trust, authority, and long-term relationships. Set yourself as a real expert. Okay. So as you're going through roofing, so what I want to do is why it's installed. So I'm not saying that you hit all these points. I'm just saying that you educate yourself on this stuff so that you can pull that out as needed. So the reason why we go down to all the way down to the decking, a lot of companies, what we find, guys, this is gold. I'm giving you paychecks right now. Just trust me. What we find with a lot of low bids, Mitch, is that the big gap is usually in something pretty big that homeowners don't realize is that important. Sometimes they don't even realize it even happened. So a lot of companies do what they call roof overs, and they build a roof on top of an existing roofing system, or they only take off certain components of the roofing system to get down to the decking. What we believe and what is code is that you have to get all the way down to the decking to make sure that you are connecting and attaching this roofing system to a nailable surface that's going to hold for the next 20 to 30 years. Just by making that statement, it makes them wonder why somebody else is $2,000 or $3,000 less than you. It makes them worry about it because you're explaining the gaps of how this is done, how people get these prices so low, and the mistakes. I've already highlighted to them and planted the seed that the number one reason why these things are end up being messed up is because of installation error. I'm also highlighting the codes and manufacturer specifications and all these. I'm working all these little nuggets, man, into this presentation, and it doesn't even seem like I'm trying to sell them. All I'm doing is educating them. So what this does, it distributes weight evenly across all the rafters. Okay, it adds rigidity to the roof structure. Okay, it acts as a nail base for underlayment and shingles. Creates a barrier between attic and exterior elements. Okay. So there's different things. So you can highlight, like tell them what problem this solves. Don't just say we go down to the decking. Who gives a damn? Those right there that I just shared with you are the reasons why it's important. The other thing that we find, Miss Maria, is that on some of the tear-offs that we do, because for every roof we put on, we tear off a roof. What we find, man, is that there's actually mold growing under there from where they've put a roof on top of a roof. Why do people replace roofs to begin with? More than likely because it was leaking. So water had already got down there and got trapped, got into the wood, probably got in all the way through to the insulation on the inside underneath the roofing system in the attic. And now you just lock that in for another 25 or 30 years. From where I come from, mold isn't good. So what we want to do is get down to the base and make sure this is a good solid surface that's not been compromised. Y'all see how powerful just talking about decking can be? Just decking. We ain't got into nothing else to do with the damn roof. So what we do is we go in and we do this, whatever the problem without it. Shingles won't fasten securely, sagging, leaks through gaps. So we can go in, ice and water shield. We're not going to go through this. We don't have time. But this is the level of depth that you get when you're a freaking professional. What part of this is being accomplished in an email? Guys, they say 40 to 60%. Listen, if I got to their table, I've only lost one deal in my life. In my life, when I got to the table. And that's a skill that is a learned skill. You can learn those. I wasn't born with it. So once you finish your presentation, don't just hard transition into a close. Now what we gotta do is we gotta do what's called a pre-close. Okay, so after that, we're gonna do a pre-close. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow us to highlight. Okay, read that for me, Mark.
Here's an outline for the transition phase between your roofing sales presentation and closing phases. The goal is to recap, get the homeowner talking about what stood out to them, and then shift naturally into qualifying questions that set you up for the close.
Okay, so recap, reinforce value. Example. So today we walked through the full roof system, the importance of ventilation. Guys, I didn't even mention ventilation. You know how much of a heart attack people can have when you talk about ventilation? And poor ventilation can cost you 10 to 20% higher power bills. It can shorten the life expectancy of your roofing system, cut it in half. Value does not exist. The perception of value exists. You have to build that perception. The importance of ventilation, underlayment, and proper installation. We also compare what makes our crew stand out from many other companies that may not include these same protections. And then ask the opening question. What part of the presentation stood out to you the most? Which components of the system do you feel add the most value or peace of mind to your home?
Underlayment.
And see, whenever we do underlayment, and I have a piece, guys, I encourage you, if you don't ever use felt, that's fine. Go buy a roll of it and cut off a bunch of strips. And every presentation you do, hand them a piece of it and have them tear it right in front of you. Say, guys, here's the thing. We could use that quality. We find that in a lot of our competitors' estimates. We find it on a lot of the roofs that we tear off of people's homes. We don't stand on that. We would rather give you this. And to be honest with you, and I hand them the upsell, the nicest one I can find, dude. Listen, my presentation is selling the baddest damn roof y'all can put on a house. That's my presentation. And I'm going to make them fall in love with every component. And if I know the very best is the Tiger Paw, I don't know the name of y'all's, but the very best synthetic underlayment was so-and-so, and I had them grab that and twist it up, and I told them I could tow your truck with that right now, versus the one they just sat there and ripped like a piece of damn construction paper. I made them fall in love with that product. I saw them see value in that product. I explained how that's sealed around nails so you don't have 20,000 damn nail penetrations on your roofing system from the beginning. From the day that we install it, you're already starting off with 20,000 holes in your roof. That creates urgency like, well, I don't want that. We need this stuff that seals up. They don't understand that if you don't point it out. So now because I made them feel good about that, then what I'll say if they don't mention underlayment, when I ask them that question, say, what about the underlayment? You said you like this and the way it's sealed around the nails. Oh yeah, that's definitely, yeah. So now what's going to happen is they're going to talk themselves into my best roof. Because I was a professional and I walked them down that damn road. I didn't give them two other options. That's the roof I'm selling you. Did anything in particular surprise you or feel something like you hadn't been shown before? Let them brag on the presentation right now. Because what they say out loud, they're convincing themselves. They're talking themselves into using you. They're talking themselves into not going with any other bid or looking for any more bids or even calling that other clown back that just sent you an email that won't return your call. All this stuff, it creates buy-in and reinforces your differentiation without you saying it again. They say it. That's the key. That's sales, man. When you get them it's their idea. It's their idea. You don't have to sell anything. And you're making layups, man. You're not shooting jumpers. Tie their answers back to the value you provide. That's exactly why we take the time to explain. Most homeowners aren't told about these details, but they're crucial for the roof's long-term performance. I'm glad you noticed that difference. Our certified labor and code compliance is what protects you down the road. It's what makes us stand out. Qualifying pre-closing questions. Based on what we covered, do you feel confident that this system would solve the issues we discussed? These are transitions. This is before you go for the close. Do you see how this approach can help protect your home better than a standard replacement? Oh yeah, definitely. I see that. Yeah. That you've got to make that happen in their head. Is there anything you feel we haven't covered that you need to be comfortable before moving forward?
That's key.
Once they affirm, great. Sounds like this is the right solution for your home. Next step is simple. We just need to decide which option works best, and we can get everything scheduled. If everything looks good, we can go ahead and lock in your project today, get you on the schedule. So at that point, I'm selling the vacation. We're past the plane flight. That's assumed. Those are minor details. I call it paperwork. I don't call it a contract. I call it an investment. I don't call it a payment. Words matter. And then stage 7 is a close. And guys, there's several closing opportunities, different ways to close. We haven't went through that modules either, but you should have a good solid 8 to 10 different closing techniques that you use. And yes, it's a technique. Trust, value, urgency. The other 2 are time and confidence. All 5 are at the peak after the first 5 phases, or 6 phases, I should say. So guys, this is a buildup. You've built everything up to where now their mind is already made. All you got to do is get out of the way. If you do that part right, man, closing is not even that's not even a damn option. Like that's guaranteed. That's not something I have to push for. I never hard close anybody. I hard sell them, but it's not pushy. Sales professionals require a menu of different strong closing techniques you can use right after a roofing sales presentation. Each should work a little differently depending on the homeowner's personality, level of trust, and urgency. So there's the assumptive close, there's the summary benefit close, there's the alternative choice close, there's the urgency close, the testimonial or third party close, the trial close, financial payment close, what's next close, value stack close, future pace close. So there's a couple. But whatever closing technique you choose to go with, make sure to keep the same energy throughout the process. You don't change. Your voice don't get high. You don't all of a sudden get all this crazy nervous energy. It's oftentimes sales reps that are good at sales are not as self-confident in closing skills. It's 2 different things. Okay? But have the confidence that you did the work, man. The guy, you know how I can tell who's about to get their ass beat in a UFC fight? The guy that's walking in there pumping up his chest and yelling at the crowd and acting a fool. Because what he has to do is try to convince himself that he's going to win this fight. The guy that walks in smiling, looking around, like taking it all in, he already did the work, man. This is just a mere formality. That's already my belt, bro. We just ain't fought yet. That's what you're going to build as you build out and get better at this. Okay? Your shift in confidence when it comes to closing, where you kind of come down a notch and you start kind of getting nervous, that's going to kill deals, guys, because they don't know the source of that nervousness. Man, why is this guy nervous? He was all confident. Now all of a sudden he's acting a little sketchy. Okay? The only way you do that, guys, you practice. The more you sweat and practice, the less you bleed in battle. So we got to scrimmage this stuff out, guys. The way that I scrimmage mine out, whatever industry I ever got into, I took my products out, I put them on my kitchen table, and I pitched to a teddy bear. I pitched to my kids, to my daughter, to my ex-wife. I pitched to the damn windshield when I'm driving down the road. I'm going to get good at this because that's how I pay my bills. And if I'm in it, damn it, I'm going to dominate it. We got to stop half-assing stuff. And I just gave you the roadmap, man. I gave you the roadmap. But you got to practice it.